Okay, good evening, everyone. We're going to first to open. Kathy, would you do that for us?
Okay, I can't hear you.
Oh, is that any better now, Kath?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so I'm just asking for you to be a first to open the meeting.
Okay.
And Frederick second.
Yeah.
Perfect. So moved by Kathy, seconded by Frederick, that the council meeting of January 18th, 2021 do now open for business at 7 p.m. Kathy, are you in favor?
Yes.
Fred? Frederick?
Yes.
Yes. Rod?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Brigida is absent this evening. So that is carried. And just to let everyone know, it will be a recorded vote on everything tonight due to the Zoom. So I'm just circling that. I'm requesting. Rod, will you, any declarations of pecuniary interest and nature thereof? Kathy? None?
Nope.
Okay, Frederick?
No.
No. Rod?
No.
Okay. Okay, moving on to discussions arising from previous council minutes. Okay, so to approve those minutes, I'll need a first. Rod, will you first that?
Yes.
Kathy second?
Yes.
Thank you. Moved by Rod, seconded by Kathy. The following council minutes be accepted as presented. Regular council meeting minutes, December 14th, 2020. Closed session meeting minutes, December 14th, 2020. Kathy in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Rod?
Yes.
Me is a yes, so that is carried. Just to let everyone know, Peggy from E4M is on with us this evening. And I have asked Peggy, because of the nature of the dual investigations that were going on, I've asked her to interject if she thinks that we are breaching any confidentiality issues whatsoever. So Peggy, if you're okay with that, I would like to be interrupted if I'm doing so, and you can do that for another member of council if you're okay with that.
Thank you, Your Worship. I am just fine doing that if necessary.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. So item 6A, Office of the Integrity Commissioner Inquiry Report for the Township of Nairn and Hyman, Code of Conduct Complaint regarding Councillor Brigida Gingras. And 6B, Office of the Integrity Commissioner Inquiry Report for the Township of Nairn and Hyman, Code of Conduct Complaint regarding Councillor Rod McDonald.
Do I have a chance to speak on this?
Yeah, right now we're just gonna have a motion, Rod, that says they're accepted as presented, and then we'll move on to the discussion part, if that's okay.
Okay.
So, Brad, will you first that? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Kathy, second?
Yes.
Thank you. So moved by Brad, seconded by Kathy. Following minutes reports be accepted as presented. Office of the Integrity Commissioner Inquiry Report for the Township of Nairn and Hyman, Code of Conduct Complaint regarding Councillor Brigida Gingras. Office of the Integrity Commissioner Inquiry Report for the Township of Nairn and Hyman, Code of Conduct Complaint regarding Rod McDonald. Kathy in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
And myself is a yes, so that's carried. So on the first matter, Rod, we're going to deal with Councillor Gingras first, and then I'll give you a chance to speak before we move on to yours, okay?
Okay, thank you.
on one of the recommendations of the Integrity Commissioner was resignation for Councillor Gingras. I don't know that I want to see that happen. I'd like to know council's thoughts on it. I think Breg is an experienced councillor that maybe needs some more training and has maybe gotten used to doing things a certain way over the years that weren't correct. Not to minimize the infractions that have occurred in any way whatsoever. I do feel that there needs to be some penalty involved. I don't know that resignation is the right answer, and we have not heard anything from her indicating that that is her desire. So Fred, would you like to speak to that as well?
Yeah, my thoughts were originally when the recommendations came out, my thoughts were that it was a bit harsh. Councillor Gingras has been a community member and an active council member for over 20 years now, and she should have known better, but I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with going down the road of resignation at this moment. I would be in favor of other penalties, considering the severity of her actions, but resignation is something that I don't think I would support at this moment.
Thank you, Frederick. Kathy, would you like to speak to that?
I'm in agreement with the both of yous in that recommendation. I do not feel comfortable asking for her resignation at this point. She's been duly elected, and I don't think that that's what the community would want to see happen at this point.
Perfect, thank you. Rod, would you like to say something to that as well?
I think Frederick said it all for me.
Okay,
I think she's been a resident of this town for years and on council for over 20 years. That I don't think these deserve that.
Okay, thanks, Rod. I think we're all feeling the same on that. So there's two recommendations in front of us. Well, one recommendation from the Integrity Commissioner. It involved some suspensions of pay. It pretty much adds up to a year's worth of pay being missed. I'd like to show a bit of leniency on this. That the end recommendation is that N2 that she needs to apologize for her actions publicly. This is a public document and will be on our website. And then she needs to go through some training with respect to her role and conflict resolution training and emotional intelligence training. I don't know that we need to suspend a full year's worth of her pay. What I would suggest, possibly if we show a little bit of consideration and maybe look at it at a 6-month term. Brad, I want to hear from you on that.
Yeah, I would be comfortable with 6 months. The other penalty that I would like to ask a question on, if I can, Mr. Chair, would be the public apology. I'm not sure if in the last meeting, in the December council meeting, if her words there would constitute a public apology or if she would have to do it again. I believe that her apology last council meeting would technically constitute public. It was in the open meeting, but if you could maybe bring light to that or address that, that would be great.
Perfect. Thanks, Frederick. Kathy?
Fred just took my words away from me.
Okay. So I'm just going to ask Belinda a quick question here before I hear from you, Rod. Would that count as a public apology because it is in our minutes? Peggy, can I ask what your thoughts are on that?
Certainly, Your Worship, and thank you for the question. The apology and the concept of the apology was very specific to the interfering with the tax sale process. And the apology that she gave in the meeting was fairly generic, and I would like to see an apology for that specific situation.
Thank you, Peggy. And I think I'm kind of on the same page with that. It was nice to hear the apology at the last meeting, but the way it reads is council will issue a public reprimand to Councillor Gingras for interfering with the statutory process, statutory officer, and further the council Councillor Gingras publicly apologizes to the CAO, clerk treasurer, and the mayor for this misconduct. So it's pretty specific. I think it was a pretty general apology that she gave at the meeting. Frederick, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Would this be something that would be able to be done in writing? Like,
Yes,
would this be suitable
just in
through
writing.
writing? Yeah.
Yeah. Rod, what are your thoughts?
For our penalty, I'm not going to speak for Councillor Jingras or myself, but I will say something about myself later on when you ask me when I can speak on myself.
Okay.
And I just, if there's any motions on the table to vote on it, I'll declare conflict on any one of those.
On hers as well?
On hers and mine, yes.
Okay, so we need to record that conflict of interest then. So that would be on 6A and 6B, correct, Rod?
Yes.
So Rod won't be able to vote on that. So we'll need a first and second, I think. Kathy, do you have anything else to add, or Frederick yourself? Anything before I read through the long resolution here?
No, I'm good.
Okay. And I think, Fred, you were okay with 180 days, the half a year? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we'll need a first. Frederick, will you do that, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Kathy, second.
Yes.
Okay, moved by Frederick, seconded by Kathy. Whereas a request for inquiry was made to the Integrity Commissioner alleging that Councillor Gingras had contravened the Township's Code of Conduct, whereas an inquiry was conducted by the Integrity Commissioner in response to the request and a report was presented to Council on December 14th. Whereas the Integrity Commissioner found that Councillor Gingras did contravene the Township's Code of Conduct when she contravened the Occupational Health and Safety Act, contravened the Ontario Human Rights Code, routinely micromanaged employees, interfered with the statutory process and role of a statutory officer, and retaliated against the applicant, interfered with an Integrity Commissioner inquiry. Whereas Council has considered the findings and recommendations of the Integrity Commissioner, before it resolved, Council suspend Councillor Gingras' remuneration for a period of 60 days for her contravention to the Township's Code of Conduct when she breached the Occupational Health and Safety Act. And B, Council suspends Councillor Gingras' remuneration for a period of 60 days for her contravention of the Township's Code of Conduct when she breached the Ontario Human Rights Code. And C, Council removes Councillor Gingras from any standing or ad hoc committees of Council and suspends her remuneration for a period of 60 days for contravention of the Township's Code of Conduct by repeatedly micromanaging municipal employees. And D, Council directs Councillor Gingras to undergo training with respect to her role, conflict resolution training, and emotional intelligence training. And E, Council will issue a public reprimand to Councillor Gingras for interfering with statutory process, statutory officer, and further, the Councillor Gingras publicly apologize to the CAO, clerk treasurer, and the mayor for this misconduct. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick? Fred?
Yes.
Yes. Myself, yes, so that is carried. Okay, Rod, now is the opportunity for you to speak to the report on yourself.
Okay, Mr. Chair. I have all these complaints brought against me and all my rights as a councillor taken away. And you have tried to ruin my name. I don't think I did anything to deserve this kind of punishment. As a councillor for 17 years, I have always tried to be honest in helping the ratepayers. I would like to thank the ratepayers for their phone calls and support of me and apologize for the thousands of dollars this is costing. As far as I'm concerned, this is nothing but a witch hunt. And I'm done now, Mr. Chair. That's all I got to say.
Okay, thanks, Rod. Again, we have recommendations of, so a total of 180 days for Councillor McDonald's remuneration suspension. I think we've shown some leniency with Councillor Gingras. I would like to see the same done for Councillor McDonald. If council is in approval of that, I'm going to propose 90 days total, so 45 each on the recommendations. Frederick, I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I would be in agreement with that. With lesser than the recommendations or 90 days.
Thank you, Kathy.
I'm in agreement with the 45 days.
Yeah. Okay. So Fred, will you first that for me?
Yeah.
Thank you. Kathy, second.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Moved by Fred, seconded by Kathy. Whereas a request for inquiry was made to the Integrity Commissioner alleging that Councillor McDonald had contravened the Township's Code of Conduct, whereas an inquiry was conducted by the Integrity Commissioner in response to the request, and a report was presented to Council on December 14th. Whereas the Integrity Commissioner found that, oops, oh, sorry, there was a typo here. The Councillor McDonald did contravene the Township's Code of Conduct when he contravened the Occupational Health and Safety Act, contravened the Ontario Human Rights Code, routinely micromanaged employees, interfered with the statutory process and role of a statutory officer, and retaliated against the applicant, interfered with integrity. Yes. Hang on, guys. We're gonna start that again. So actually, if we just. Okay, we're good. Okay, so I'm going to start this again. Moved by Fred, seconded by Kathy. Whereas a request for inquiry was made to the Integrity Commissioner alleging that Councillor McDonald had contravened the Township's Code of Conduct, whereas an inquiry was conducted by the Integrity Commissioner in response to the request and a report was presented to Council on December 14th, whereas the Integrity Commissioner found that Councillor McDonald did contravene the Township's Code of Conduct when he contravened the Occupational Health and Safety Act, routinely micromanaged employees. Whereas Council has considered the findings and recommendations of the Integrity Commissioner, be it resolved that number A, the Council suspends Councillor McDonald's remuneration for a period of 45 days for his contravention of the Township's Code of Conduct when he breached the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Council removes Councillor McDonald from any standing or ad hoc committees of Council and suspends his remuneration for a period of 45 days for his contravention of the Township's Code of Conduct by repeatedly micromanaging municipal employees. And Council will establish a committee to review all future complaints made by Councillor McDonald and resolve which will be considered by the Township. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. So that is carried. And on this, the Integrity Commissioner has also suggested that we develop some new policies and stuff to be a little be more clear on what is expected of Council, what's expected of staff, so on and so forth. Rod, or Fred, will you first that for me?
Yes.
Thank you. Kathy, second.
Yes.
Moved by Fred, seconded by Kathy. Whereas the Integrity Commissioner has made the following recommendations in regards to the Township's policies and bylaws. Council update their code of conduct to be compliant with changes to the Municipal Act that came into effect March 1st, 2019. Council adopt a Council staff relations policy as now required by the Municipal Act. Council adopt an expect behavior policy as well as a feedback complaint policy. Council adopt a proper performance management system and related tools for the Township so that Council is clear on how employee performance is managed, and Council provide training on both to all members of Council, members of committees of Council, and municipal employees. Be it resolved that Council deems it prudent to direct the CAO Clerk Treasurer to update the Township's Code of Conduct for Council's review by March 8th, draft a Council staff relations policy for Council's review by March 8th, this is 2021, draft an expected behavior policy for Council's review by May 10th, 2021, draft a feedback complaint policy for Council's review by May 10th, 2021, develop a performance management system and related tools for the township for council's review by August 9th, 2021, and prepare a schedule for training for all members of council, members of committees of council, and municipal employees on each of the policies. So, Kathy, are you in favor?
Yes, I am.
Frederick?
Yes.
Rod?
I'm not voting on this, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so you're declaring, okay, that's fine. And I'm in favor, so that's carried. Okay, moving on to item 6C, Manitou and Sudbury District Services Board 2020 third quarter activity report. And feel free to jump in if anyone has any questions on any of these reports. D, Public Health Sudbury Districts unapproved minutes, Thursday, November 19th, 2020. E, La Cloche Foothills Municipal Association minutes, December 7th, 2020. F, Township of Nairn and Hyman, October 2020 bank reconciliation. G, Township of Nairn and Hyman, November 2020 bank reconciliation. H, Township of, so what we're going to do here first is, so just noting those as being received. Rod, will you first that?
Yes.
Fred second?
Yes.
Thank you. So moved by Rod, seconded by Frederick. Following minutes, items C to G be accepted as presented. Manitou and Sudbury District Services Board third quarter activity report. Public Health Sudbury and Districts unapproved minutes, Thursday, November 19th, 2020. Excuse me, La Cloche Foothills Municipal Association minutes, December 7th, 2020. F, Township of Nairn and Hyman, October 2020 bank reconciliation. And G, Township of Nairn and Hyman, November 2020 bank reconciliation. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
Myself, yes, that's carried. Okay, moving on to 6H, Township of Nairn and Hyman CAO's report number 2021-001, January 4th, 2021. I, Township of Nairn and Hyman CAO's report number 2021-002, January 6th, 2021. J, Township of Nairn and Hyman Municipal Superintendent's report, January 6th, 2021.
I have something, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Frederick, go ahead.
I'm reading that the outdoor rink was only flooded January 6th. Was a little bit difficult to read when Beaver Lake had their rink open a couple days after Christmas, and as well as Espanola, and most outdoor rinks in Sudbury were open a couple days after Christmas. I just find it tough and difficult that we have this nice facility and it's not being used to its full capacity when it's cold out. I understand you get into some warm spells, but every other rink in the area was open, so it's a bit difficult to read for me.
Thanks, Frederick. Can I have Belinda speak to that? Were there some issues with, I think we did have ice and then we lost it, or I'll let Belinda speak to it. I haven't spoke to Derek personally, so if council's okay, maybe we'll have a bit of an explanation.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. We actually did attempt to flood the ice many times before the Christmas holidays. We did establish a small bit of a base. Unfortunately, with the weather conditions, we lost the ice. So staff has been very diligently over the past few days since the colder weather has returned, had been flooding twice a day. So we should have it up and running very shortly. And of course, we will be making that known on social media. Unfortunately, the rink shack, because of the lockdown, won't be able to be open, but the rink will. So as long as everyone's social distancing.
Okay, thank you.
And Frederick, I'm in agreement with you. It seems like, I don't know if we're losing our ice for a specific reason where the other rinks aren't, if it's cracks in the concrete or what, but I'm in 100% agreement with you. We all seem to be the last one in the area to be open. And yeah, with some of the rinks that are, I guess, gravel underneath, they would have a bit of a snow base that might adhere. I don't know if that's an explanation or not, but we'll certainly ask the CAO to maybe get some clarification from Derek on next month's report if we could.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so the next item was Township of Nairn and Hyman Fire Chief's report, January 6th. And L, Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks 2020 inspection report for the Nairn Center drinking water system, January 4th, 2021. We'll do the receive first, and then we'll go into those motions. So this motion is just to note these as being received. Frederick, will you first that?
Yes.
Rod, second.
Yes.
Q. Moved by Frederick, seconded by Rod. Following minutes and reports, H to L be noted as being received. Township of Nairn and Hyman CAO's report number 2021-001, January 2021. Township of Nairn and Hyman CEO's report number 2021-002, January 6, 2021. Township of Nairn and Hyman Municipal Superintendent's report, January 6, 2021. Township of Nairn and Hyman Fire Chief's report, January 6, 2021. And Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks 2020 inspection report for the Nairn Center drinking water system, January 4, 2021. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
You, Rod?
Yes.
Myself as a yes, that is carried. A couple resolutions for those correspondences. Rod, will you first the motion regarding the Blue Sky Net Economic Growth Corporation, the grant?
Yes.
You, Kathy, second.
Yes.
Moved by Rod, seconded by Kathy. Be resolved that CEO's report number 2021-001 be received for information, and that council authorizes the CAO to enter into the agreement for funding from Blue Sky Net Economic Growth Corporation COVID-19 Technology Adoption Fund in the amount of $9,641 to update the municipality's computer systems to allow for staff and council to work and meet remotely. And further, the council acknowledges the commitment to fund 25% of the project cost in the amount of $3,214 plus HST will be included in the 2021 municipal budget. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
You and myself as a yes, so that is carried. Okay, and this is the engineering services for the RFP for waste and recycling. Rod, will you first that?
Yes.
You, Fred, second.
Yes.
Thank you. Moved by Rod, seconded by Frederick, whereas the CAO's report number 2021-002 has been received for information, and be it resolved, the council agrees to participate in La Crosse Foothills Municipal Association's pursuit and procuring engineering services for the purpose of creating a joint RFP for waste and recycling services for our municipality. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Q. Rod?
Yes.
Myself as a yes, so that is carried. Moving on to correspondences. 7A, Joanne Falk regarding community-owned broadband network, December 4th, 2020. B, Tracy Weatherby, Public Health Submarine Districts regarding request to place township logo on joint COVID-19 messaging, December 11th, 2020. 7C, JI Enterprises, regarding McCharles Street pavement cracks, December 8th, 2020. 7D, Township of Pickle Lake regarding support of the Township of Nairn and Hyman's resolution regarding the closure of non-essential businesses during the pandemic, December 22nd, 2020. 7E, Mallory Township of Front of Young regarding support of the Township of Nairn and Hyman's resolution regarding the closure of non-essential businesses during the pandemic, January 14th, 2021. F, Town of Rainy River regarding support of the Township of Nairn and Hyman's resolution regarding the closure of non-essential businesses during the pandemic, January 11th, 2021. G, Township of Sauble Spanish Rivers regarding support of the Township of Nairn and Hyman's resolution regarding the closure of non-essential businesses during the pandemic, January 14th. And H, which I would like to thank Frederick for your research into this. I think it's a great idea. The CAO is looking at that option as well as some other options. I think we're in agreement that we need to get word out to the citizens in a more professional, quick manner. So I'd like to thank you for bringing that to the table. We are going to do some more research on it, and it's nice to see member of council doing something like that. We appreciate it. Fred, did you want to say anything to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to just quickly mention that I was approached by this company, and it is an app system that can alert citizens and taxpayers in our town for things such as boil water advisories or power outages, stuff like that, where people don't always get it right away. They get it through the mail or on Facebook, and they don't see it till a couple hours or days later. So I think this would be a really good option for the town, and people that have phones that are willing to use it, and we could save some money for mailing costs and save some other miscommunications down the road.
Thanks, Fred. So we're going to note those as being received. Fred, will you second that?
Yes.
Sorry, first it. Kathy, will you second?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. Moved by Fred, seconded by Kathy, that correspondence 7A to H be noted as received. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, so that is carried. Okay, moving on to motions. 8. Okay, yeah, sorry, there was a couple more on those correspondences that I missed here. One is about public health and our logo. Rod, will you first that?
Yes.
Kathy, second.
Yes.
Thank you. Moved by Rod, seconded by Kathy. The council agrees to partner with Public Health Sudbury and District regarding the promotion of COVID-19 messaging throughout the La Cloche Foothills area, and that council agrees to allow our municipal logo to be placed on their messaging and website. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that is carried. This next one is just on JI Enterprises, acknowledging their letter of response. Fred, will you first that?
Yes.
Thank you. Rod, second.
Yes.
Resolve the council notes the correspondence received from JI Enterprises regarding the Charles Street pavement cracks, and further the council directs the CAO to send an acknowledgement letter in response to the repair and remediation work performed on McCharles Street at no cost to the municipality. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, so that is carried. So now we're going to move on to motions. The City of Hamilton regarding temporary cap on food delivery service charges. Can we get a first on that?
Yes.
Rod, second.
Yes.
Thank you. Moved by Frederick, seconded by Rod, that the Corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman endorse and supports the resolution of the City of Hamilton in calling for the province of Ontario to place a temporary cap on food delivery service charges, as many restaurants have been severely impacted by COVID-19 and have become dependent on delivery and takeout services for the viability of their businesses. Further, that a copy of this motion be sent to the Premier of Ontario, the City of Hamilton, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario for their endorsement. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that is carried. Okay, moving on to Town of Kingsville regarding letter of support for small business. Very similar to what we have passed, but by all means, I think we should all be working together on this. Rod, will you first that?
Yes.
Kathy, second.
Yes.
Thank you. Moved by Rod, seconded by Kathy, that the Corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman endorse and supports the resolution of the Town of Kingsville in calling upon the Premier of Ontario, as well as the Ontario Cabinet and health officials, to protect the health of Ontarians and our small businesses by allowing them to remain open in-store sales and service with limited capacity and increased safety measures. Further, a copy of this motion be sent to the Premier of Ontario, Minister of Economic Development, the Associate Minister of Small Business and Red Tape Reduction, the Minister of Health, the Minister of Finance, the Associate Minister of Mental Health and Addictions, I'm assuming, the Town of Kingsville, and the Association of Municipalities of Ontario for their endorsement. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Frederick?
Yes.
Thank you. Rod?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that is carried. Okay, 8C, Region Appeal regarding property tax exemptions for veteran clubs. Fred, will you first that?
Yes.
Thank you. Rod, second.
Yes.
Thank you. Moved by Frederick, seconded by Rod. Be resolved that the Corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman endorse and supports a resolution of the Region of Appeal and calling upon the Minister of Finance to amend the Assessment Act to include an exemption for property taxes to veteran clubs, and further that a copy of this motion be sent to the Minister of Finance and the Region of Appeal. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
And myself is a yes, so it is carried. Okay, moving on to accounts. General in the amount of $70,914.95. Public Works, $44,707.26. Fire, $10,173.11. Any questions on those accounts? Okay, Rod, will you first
Yes.
for authorized for payment? Yes. Kathy, second.
Yes.
Thank you. Moved by Rod, seconded by Kathy. The following disbursement sheets be authorized for payment. General, $70,914.95. Public Works, $44,707.26. And Fire, $10,173.11. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, so that is carried. An additional invoice, KPMG, in the amount of $14,125 for year-end audit. Cambrian Ford, repairs to Ford truck, $11,645.88. Fred, will you first that?
Yes.
Authorized for payment. Kathy, second.
Yes.
Thank you. Moved by Fred, seconded by Kathy. Following additional invoice summary items be authorized for payment. KPMG interim billing for audit 2020 year end, $14,125. Cambrian Ford, repairs to Ford truck, $11,645.88. Kathy, in favor?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, I hear you. Frederick?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, so that is carried. Okay, moving on to bylaws. The first couple are standard ones that we pass every year. Item 10A, bylaw 2021-1, being a bylaw to charge a rate of interest on tax arrears. Item B, bylaw number 2021-2, being a bylaw to provide for an interim tax levy, to provide for the payment of taxes, and to provide for penalty and interest of 15% per annum. So we'll deal with the first one first. Fred, will you first that?
Yes.
The first bylaw, Rod second.
Yes.
Thank you. Moved by Frederick, seconded by Rod, being a bylaw to charge a rate of interest on tax arrears be read a first, second, third time, and passed in open council. Its number shall be 2021-1. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Fred?
Yes.
You, Rod?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. That is carried. The second one, Kathy, will you first that?
Yes.
Rod second.
Yes.
Thank you. Moved by Kathy, seconded by Rod. To provide for an interim tax levy, to provide for the payment of taxes, and to provide for penalty and interest of 15% per annum. You read a first, second, and third time and passed in open council. Its number shall be 2021-2. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Frederick?
Yes.
You, Rod?
Yes.
You and myself as a yes. That's carried. Item 10C, bylaw number 2021-3, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2018-39, being a bylaw to govern the proceedings of council, the conduct of its members, and the calling of meetings to allow for the electronic participation of members. Fred, will you first that?
Yeah.
Kathy, second.
Yes.
Thank you. Moved by Frederick, seconded by Kathy. Being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2018-39, being a bylaw to govern the proceedings of council, the conduct of its members, and the calling of meetings to allow for the electronic participation of members. Read a first, second, and third time. Passed in open council. Its number shall be 2021-3. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
And myself is a yes, so that is carried. Okay, moving on to, for information only, Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing regarding COVID-19 safe restart funding for 2021, December 17th, 2020. 11B, Public Health Sudbury and Districts approved 2021 operating budget, December 21st, 2020. And C, Ministry of Transportation, expansion of on-road opportunities for off-road vehicles, January 4th, 2021. So we were just noting those as being received. Kathy, will you first that?
Yes.
Rod, second.
Yes.
Thank you. Moved by Kathy, seconded by Rod. Be it resolved that the information only items 11A to C be noted as received. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Frederick?
Yes.
Thank you. Rod?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. That's carried. Okay, we have the item 14 now, bylaw 2021-4, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman. Okay, we got a first, Kathy, on that.
Yes.
Second, Frederick.
Yeah.
Thank you. Moved by Kathy, seconded by Frederick. Frederick, that being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Nairn and Hyman, you read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council. Its number shall be 2021-4. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
And myself is a yes, so it is carried. Motion to close. Fred, will you first?
Yes.
Thank you. Rod, second.
Yes.
Moved by Frederick, seconded by Rod. It resolved that meeting of January 18th, 2021, we now adjourn at 7:44 p.m. To meet again on the 8th day of February, 2021 at 7 p.m. or at the call of the mayor. Kathy, in favor?
Yes.
Frederick?
Yes.
Rod?
Yes.
Myself is a yes, that is carried. I just would like to thank Peggy for attending this evening, our Zoom meeting. Luckily, we didn't have to call on you too much. Take care, councilors.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, folks.
Good night, everyone.
The February meeting will be more than likely online, right? Because the stay at home.
Yeah, it's looking that way.
Okay. Okay.
We'll keep everyone posted though.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Fred.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, good night, everyone.